Kilimanjaro Safaris. My name is Liz. I'm going to be your safari guide out there today on the Giraffes Wildlife Reserve. For everyone's safety, just make sure we are staying fully seated at all times, keeping those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside my big first area of the reserve we're entering is called the Little Tree Forest. It's home to lots of animals, a couple of which I'm already seeing. So on the hills here to your left, the orange-colored antelope, those are called bongos. You also might see some greater kudu as well. They're lighter tan in color and a little bit larger. But my personal favorite is on your right. It's called an okapi. I know it kind of looks like a zebra, especially on those legs. However, its closest living relative is actually the giraffe. So greater kudu and bongo, like here on your left, they're different species, but they have one similarity in common. They have these white vertical stripes along their body, and that is a great form of camouflage here in the forest. What that does is it breaks up their silhouette amongst all this dense vegetation, so it makes it a little harder for those predators to spot them. It's a little bit safer. Now, since the okapi is, well, it's related to the giraffe, but it lives in the forest. It's called the forest giraffe, but it's also called the African unicorn. It's because there's a lot of mystery around that animal. It wasn't even discovered by the Western world until about 1901, because they are very solitary animals, experts at physical distancing, but they also are only found in very dense forests. So if you're lucky enough to find them, you're only going to find one at a time. But laying down along the rock structure back there to your left is a black rhino. Now, black rhinos can weigh around 3,000 pounds. They can also reach a top charging speed of about 35 miles an hour. All rhinos globally are facing significant decline, especially a group of hippos like this is called a float, like a float but with a V. Now, hippos are mostly nocturnal animals, so that means they're going to be a little more active at nighttime. So during the day, they just kind of hang out in the river where they have protection from the heat and sun. You might notice not all their heads are at the surface. That's because hippos can hold their breath for about 5 to 8 minutes at a time, much longer than any of us. On the island in the center, but looks like also up ahead along the riverbank as well. These are called pink-backed pelicans. Uncreative naming, they do get that name because their backs, but also underneath their wings, around their eyes, even around those adorable little feet. All areas of their body that have a pink hue. And that's going to be a little bit more vibrant during the mating season. Sadly, they are the tiniest species of pelican, but they still have a pretty impressive wingspan at about 9 feet across. Need an idea of what 9 feet looks like? That canopy over the trunk is about 9 feet. Now, friends, we just crossed over into dangerous waters because those are Nile crocodiles off to your left and right underneath us, underneath this very rickety bridge. These animals can grow up to 16 feet in length, and they weigh about 500 pounds. Those powerful giants will usually take down anything larger than them. Now, if you look to your left-hand side, those are called African wild dogs, also known as the painted dog. A dog is in their name. They are very cute. However, they are not domesticated, so we don't interact with them like you would your dog at home. In fact, they are some of the most successful hunters here in Africa. About 80% of the time, they are successful. That's because they work together as a team to take down their prey, but they also have incredible stamina. They're capable of running a 5K, so 3.1 miles, in about 5 minutes. I don't know anybody who can do that, so don't mess with them. We're kind of driving through, this is called a dazzle of zebras. So I see some on our right and left-hand side. There is a young zebra on both sides of you, actually. So on your left, I mean, obviously compare heights there. On your right, it's the closest one to us. Also, on your left, those are the tiniest animals you'll probably see out here. Those are called springbok. They're fully grown at only about 3 feet tall. However, they're tiny but mighty. They can spring 6 feet straight up into the air from a standstill. No running start required. They can also spring forward up to 13 feet in a single bound. When they do that repeatedly, it's a behavior called pronking. Kind of looks like they're bouncing across the savanna when they do that. It's pretty adorable if you ever get a chance to witness it. So on our right and left, this is kind of a great example of how a male and a female of the same species look a little different. So On your left is that male and female eland. On your right is another female. Females are kind of tan in color. They have a very light build. Males, like that gray one there to your left, very stocky, very muscular. And eland are some of the tallest of any antelope. They're about 6 feet tall at the shoulder from mom when they're first born. And bonus, if that's not enough of a hi, how do you do, welcome to the world, they also have to start walking within their first 30 minutes. Pretty common for a lot of animals out here on the savannah. Got to be up and moving pretty shortly after birth to keep up with everybody else. Now, there are a couple different species of giraffe, the ones you're seeing there on your left and your right. Those are called Maasai, spelled M-A-S-A-I, and they are characterized by their, what I would like to call messy Maasai, or irregular shaped patches. They have, but there's also some mandrills here to your left. Mandrills are a species of monkey. Females are about 25 to 35 pounds. Males are almost 100 pounds. They hang out in these groups called the bachelor group. And these tend to be pretty fluid. Individuals will just kind of come and go as they please. It's kind of like a game of I'm not touching you. So again, very goes from kind of intense to just kind of play behavior pretty quickly. Just kind of trying to see who can stand their ground the longest. I think one of them is winning that battle there, because the other one just keeps backing up. It's the way you fight. We're going to check down by the watering hole here. Usually a pretty good gathering place for all sorts of animals. And it seems like it's called a flamboyance of flamingos just up ahead. And it looks like these are greater flamingos, actually. They are the lightest color pink, but they're also the largest of all flamingo species. Now, if you also look very carefully, you'll see these little gray fluff balls on the island there with them. Those are greater flamingo chicks. And all flamingos, no matter what species they are, they're born gray. They only start to develop that pink color on their feathers when they start to eat a primary diet of brine shrimp. And brine shrimp contain a very special ingredient called beta-carotene, and that's what gives them that beautiful pink color. Standing on one leg like all those flamingos are doing, it's a pretty common behavior of what they're known for, but on your left I do see some cheetahs over here. I know that sun is probably right in your eyes there, but on the slope of the hill, right about there, look for those white dots on their tails. Cheetahs can reach a top speed of about 60 miles an hour within only 3 seconds. However, they are sprinters. They're not marathon runners. They can't maintain that speed for long, usually just a few hundred yards. And if they don't catch whatever they are going after in that one quick burst of energy, they have to wait and try again a little bit later. So they really are designed for speed, guys. That long, slender body. They also have claws that never retract. So it helps them grip the ground, kind of like soccer cleats. And that long tail is also an advantage for them. So when you're running at a top speed of 60 miles an hour, it's very hard to change direction. That tail basically acts like a rudder. Helps them change direction when they're running at that top speed. Oh, and the predators just got a little bit bigger, guys, because it seems to be a male lion on top of this copy here to your left. It's kind of right in between these two clusters of trees here. Lions usually travel in groups called prides, made up majority of females, those lionesses. That's because lionesses do the majority of the hunting, normally hunting in pairs or teams. While the male lion stays behind, he's going to look after the cubs and the territory, make sure nothing happens to those two while those females are gone. Seeing lions awake, that's pretty incredible, because lions spend anywhere between 16 to 20 hours a day sleeping or resting. Looks like one of the females is demonstrating that beautifully. But it looks like there's 2 females with this particular male. It is kind of small for a pride. They can be made up of as many as 15 females and 1 male. But, you know, it's a pride nonetheless. I am not quite... Oh, I was like, I am not quite sure where that male disappeared to there, but right there on the left, on the right of that really big rock there. If you look inside the burrow to your left as we make this turn, that is a warthog right there. Now warthogs are the largest burrowing mammal. However, they do believe in working smarter, not harder, so they'll usually just kind of utilize or modify the burrows made by other animals like aardvarks. If you miss that warthog, there's two more of them. They're laying kind of on the slope of the hill there. One of them is playing, looks like, with a branch of some kind. But look for those tusks that also stick out on either side of their snout. Usually the easiest way to spot them is probably on your face. Those face covers